Hello, here's video 2 of the Uranus, Taurus, full moon, opposite Mars, crazy eclipse, partial eclipse. This is video number 2. I forgot to say in video number 1, like, subscribe, share, if you want. Okay, so in this one I want to cover Mars entering the picture with Uranus, because Mars is opposing Uranus, and so what that means is that there is going to be some friction. There is just literally going to be friction. I would have a hard time imagining someone going through the next few days without experiencing any sort of friction. Like, it just is. It just is. And so, you know, like in video 1, if we embrace it with curiosity, then it works out a lot better for us than like trying to resist it or trying to control it, because you really can't. This is just one big energy. So one piece of advice that I would have for this particular aspect is not to make any big decisions for the next week or so, if you can help it, because what is going to happen is the partial eclipse is going to bring in fated energy. And what I mean by that is, whatever construct you have, there's things that happen in life, and if you're watching this video, then you know what I mean. There's things that happen in life that just seem like they were inevitable along your path. Meeting certain people, just things lining up perfectly in a way that can be destructive or can be, I guess, not destructive. What's the word? I don't even know, but you know what I'm saying. Oh wow, I just lost my train of thought. That hasn't happened in a while. Oh, okay, yeah. So Mars is going to create inflammation. So, and I'm not just talking about in the body, although yes, in the body. I've got to like double up on my tea today. I can already feel it. In the body, but also when Mars is in the picture, there's this youthful rebellion that's honestly just such a beautiful energy. It is pretty harsh. It can be pretty harsh. It can be very immediate. Mars really likes to just do it, like a Nike commercial, like just do it, And Mars is the, I guess, the planetary symbol for like war and fighting. And so Mars causes literal inflammation. And so when Mars is activated like this in the chart, opposite of Uranus in an eclipse, that means that there's a fated friction that you aren't expecting coming in. With Mars, I would say that I would expect it to come in pretty quickly, but the fated part of it, like what you might be getting during this partial eclipse full moon time period, which by the way, you usually feel 5 days before and 5 days after. So you might have something happen but it might not be that big fated thing. So there's an 18-month period after the eclipse where things culminate. And so sometimes what you'll find is like a flavor of what's coming up. And then you'll be able to go back, like if you journal, or I would recommend journaling, especially for this transit. Then yeah, it's going to be enough friction to make you change something. And so be gentle with other people, be gentle with yourself. I would say that because people don't choose to approach these life lessons very often as a society in the United States, it's easy for everyone, like I talked about in one of my previous videos, it's easy for everyone to get inflamed and think that someone's being rude or mean. But in all actuality, we all might be perceiving each other as more harsh and grumpy than any of us feel, because perception is reality. And if there is an energy of inflammation, it doesn't skip over anyone. It's kind of like the plague, like everyone's, it's very rare for you to like survive that without getting sick or whatever. So, so this is, if you know this is happening and you know this is coming, then you know that you're going to have a tendency to one thing that you might think of doing is severing, because that's a Mars thing. I would tell you, unless it's something that you've thought about before now, I would tell you not to sever anything, even if it's like the worst thing imaginable. I still wouldn't cut anything now. I would give it about 7 days. Cutting out any person or cutting out any literal thing in your life, I'd give it about 7 days before I made a permanent cut. That doesn't mean that you can't pull away or you can't take a time out or whatever. You're going to have an impulse naturally to react in a way that is violent. And, it could be verbally violent, or it could be thought violent, or it could be a trigger and you become violent to yourself and your mind. It could be physically violent, so whenever you're feeling that, just acknowledge. I don't want you to resist the feeling or run from it, but I do want you to resist any permanent reaction that you might have to whatever's being presented to you, because you're very likely not seeing, if it's an interaction with someone else, you're very likely not seeing the version of them that is usually present. It's an inflamed version of them. And so you might preemptively want to give those humans that you interact with over the next week a lot of unconditional positive regard, especially if they're people who are important in your life, because with Uranus, there's so much communication that just goes awry. And to couple that with the full moon energy, where we already literally know that it disrupts schools, daycares, everything. I just see this being like just a really triggery time. And so your best response is to say, okay, this sucks. I feel it. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling how much it sucks. I'm feeling my resistance to it. I'm feeling very angry at the other person. But instead of engaging in an argument or engaging in some sort of like thought war, I decide to journal instead or find another outlet. I don't recommend bottling anything up. So again, play in creativity. If you can find a way to express this without throwing it or severing another person, then it's going to be a lot less daunting to deal with. Another thing is driving or engaging in any type of, like, driving inherently is pretty dangerous activity, right? So if you're in a hurry, I would recommend not approaching getting somewhere with a hurried response. If you're late, you're late. It's better than being rushed and getting that sort of momentum and then getting suddenly hit by a car, because again, everyone's inflamed. So people who are already aggressive drivers are probably going to be like really, really hard to be on the road with. And so you really want to like take your time to get somewhere, even if there's a consequence, like an unpleasant consequence to being late. I would say take a deep breath and put yourself first, put your needs first, because, I'm assuming that if you have to be somewhere on time, it's interacting with another human. So, yeah, you want to make sure that when you're driving, you're not going too fast. I have noticed, and sometimes these things, especially when I was first studying astrology, like sometimes I would just be like noticing, for example, driving aggressively. I'm not an aggressive driver. Like, I'm not usually angry behind the wheel. I'm kind of like a grandma driver, actually. Like, I piss other people off probably all the time because I'm so cautious. But so when I have like this, like, all of a sudden need for speed, for like, I don't know, getting somewhere super fast and like speeding up and getting pissed off at people and whatever, like, why wouldn't you get out of my way? That's not my normal response. So it's easy for me to pick up on the idea that I have like this energy that is affecting me that is not normal, I guess, or usual. And so normally that means that Mars is being activated for me, because Mars is my big bad malefic. It's not bad. So yeah, so if a calm grandma driver like me can just suddenly get real aggressive, especially on full moons, then, you know, I would definitely tell you to be very careful, very cautious. Your patience will be tested. People will be assholes on the road. And since we have this surprising, electrifying element along with all of this other stuff, I really don't want you to put yourself in a situation where, you know, the momentum that you already have is annoyed, and then you get angry, and then there's a crash that may not have been a crash if it, you know, you had known to approach this in like a more calm, compassionate way. So that is Mars opposite Uranus. Yeah, good luck.